Finally, somebody took action during what was supposed to be a school shooting, and thank goodness no students or anybody was hurt other than the principal, who's the hero of this story, who took out the suspected or supposed shooter of this school shooting. This is a Shots Fired podcast. For those of you who watch the show consistently, we don't have Mark in studio. We have Justin, my buddy and coworker. You've been on the show before, so thanks for popping in here.
Thanks for having me.
We wanted to record something on this because this video just dropped today. And wow, my first reaction when I saw it was, it's pretty astonishing because this stuff is happening way too often. And to see the principal come out and tackle this kid and prevent other students from getting hurt and or killed is pretty remarkable. And I want to jump into this from our perspective as cops, how we think these situations should be handled, timeframes that it takes police and law enforcement to respond to stuff like this. And then, really, how do we prevent these things from happening at schools? They're happening too often, and what teachers and staff members can do. So what was your first thought when you saw the video?
It takes courage to rush at somebody. You pop a door open and just see an armed gunman right there in the middle of the school. It takes courage and takes a big set of balls to just step up and attack him like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Looking into it, reading up on it, it sounds like this isn't his first. He's had a lot of students' backs. He's stepped up. He's encouraged them and built students. And there's students said that he'd take a bullet for him.
Yeah, and he literally did.
He did.
He got shot in the leg tackling this kid who shows up to the school. And I'll give a quick rundown of this. So the student is a 20-year-old prior student of the high school at Pauls Valley High School in Oklahoma. Shows up in the lobby, says that he's going to wants to create another Columbine incident. He's armed with 2 semi-automatic handguns. Luckily, it says he goes in there and fires off some rounds. He goes to actually shoot a student. The gun malfunctions. He clears the malfunction, fires at the student, which misses. Some of the kids go running out of the building, and then that's when Mr. Kirk Moore, the hero, principal, runs out of his office, tackles him and subdues him, takes a round to the leg, and then other members of the school come out, help him disarm him.
This happened on a Tuesday at around 2:20 in the afternoon. So literally classrooms are filled with students. Fortunately, it looked like based on the video that they were in the classroom and not walking through the corridors or in between class or lunch break, that was good luck. I mean, let's face it, we need good luck on these types of situations.
Oh, totally.
We talked about police response and how as quick as they can be, they're not going to be quick enough in these types of events. That there's not a doubt in my mind that Principal Kirk saved lives.
Yeah, dude. So we're cops. So from our perspective, I mean, when you're getting dispatched to an active shooter out of school or anywhere, it's going to take us several minutes to get there. Depending on where you're at, where is this student at? You don't know. So, I mean, you're arriving on scene and there's a lot going through your head of, in an active shooter situation, we're just getting out and running to the threat to eliminate it. But I think so much of this stuff is happening nowadays. Like, we need to get into first of all, how can schools do a better job of preventing people from just walking on campus? Even if they're not armed, like, even if parents are just walking on campus, we know, like, I have kids that go to middle school and elementary school. You're not supposed to just walk on campus. They tell you you need to check in. I would say a very small percentage of parents actually go to the campus to check in. Their mind frame is, I'm going to go to my kid's classroom or I'm going to go to whatever function is going on. I'm not going to bother checking into the school, who I'm just, I'm dad or mom of whatever kid. And most parents just don't even obey their own rules. And the reality is, school staff members and maybe other parents that are at schools, they don't like confrontation. People don't like confrontation. And so, like, if I were to go to my kid's school, I'm supposed to check in. Yeah. If I don't, and I just walk to my kid's class, I know for a fact that not one person is going to stop me and identify me or ask what I'm doing.
You're supposed to check in the office. You get your little sticker that you put on your shirt. You sign your name in. You sign out. But the fact is the majority of the campuses that are around us.
Pull that mic up a little bit to you.
The majority of the campuses that are around us are pretty open campus. There's multiple points of entry, whether you're on the east side of the school or through the front of the school or even back typically by the sports fields. There's ways of getting onto the campus without having to pass through the front office doors.
It's too easy.
It's too easy.
It's too easy. And so at my kid's elementary school this last year, they put this fence up around a portion of the school. And at first, parents were annoyed by it. They're like, I can't walk up to my kid's class when the bell rings and get my, my first, second grader, kindergartner out of school. Well, a lot of parents thought that the gate was there to prevent people from walking on campus. Well, and then we later find out the school tells us, hey, no, it was actually for the disabled kids because they don't want them getting out and the kids with special needs. But they also said, hey, it's also as a preventative measures from getting people to go on campus. Well, I'm sorry, but the fence is 9 feet tall, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to get on campus, you're going to jump a fence. So I don't think, for a while there, people were saying, well, let's just fence off all schools. That's not going to prevent somebody who wants to do harm. That's not going to keep them out of a school. It might slow them down a little bit, and maybe somebody would recognize what's going on. But I don't know. We were kind of talking about, should teachers be armed with guns? I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of school districts that have school resource officers. Unfortunately, not every school district or city has the funds to staff that. Staffing right now for almost every agency is down.
Well, some cities didn't want school resource officers at their school. They didn't want cops at their school because they felt like it was too threatening for their kids.
Yeah, that they were hardening it. But that's what fences do. That's what aren't, Now, do I want a cop out there with a tack vest on, armed with an AR? No. Give me somebody in a classy polo and, some pants that looks like every other staff member. And I think what you'll find is that the school, not only the students, but the teachers working at the school enjoy having the presence there. Recently we had, just this week, there was 3 school lockdowns in our area. Blessing it was all swatting. But I actually had a chance to talk to one of those teachers that was at the school, and she gave huge shout out to the agency that came in and handled the lockdown. She said that they barricaded in place. She described what all the teachers have to do in order to fortify their room, and she said she could see up and down the corridors of the hallways armed law enforcement officers, clearing the buildings.
Yeah, so I think cops we are. I mean, really. Well after Columbine, that was really like the major kickoff of a school shooting. Like, we have never seen anything like that.
I'm willing to bet that half of law enforcement don't even know, hasn't
maybe.
really seen Columbine.
Probably.
Or even know about it.
What's crazy is we actually worked, I don't even know if you know this, but we used to work with a reserve. I won't say her name on air, but she actually, her and her sister were in Columbine in the cafeteria, I believe, when that shooting happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened so long ago that, I mean, as we get older in age and the next.
Yeah, but I mean, Columbine was like the shift of how cops respond to school shootings. And, we've drastically gotten better about it. But so I would argue, are cops well prepared for it? Yes. But then as a parent, I'm taking my cop hat off. Like, as a parent, do I think school staff is well prepared for it? I don't know. Like, I'm not there to see what their training is. I don't know. For both my kids, like I would ask any parent out there, like, do you know what your school trains? Do you know what your kids' teachers are trained to do? I have no idea. They don't tell you. You send your kid off to school and you just hope that never happens.
Yeah. Well, they do classroom activities for it, and it is truly a barricade. They lock the door from the inside. They literally start stacking stuff against the door, the main entrance. They turn off the lights. They cover any of the windows that they can be seen in the classroom, and they basically hunker in place. Yeah,
but it's all like to me, it's a defensive mechanism.
Yeah.
So when I watch a video like this where the principal just comes out, no hesitation, tackles that guy, like, are they being taught any offensive mechanisms to stop? And that's where I would say, like, as a cop, if you're in a situation and you're in close quarters like he was in the lobby of this school, there's other kids there. Your best bet is to charge that threat or advance on that threat and minimize the distance as much as possible, which is exactly what he did.
He took the attack to him.
Yeah, he took the attack to the shooter, which I'm venturing to guess most people that go to any type of venue to do some type of active shooter, especially a young adult going to a school. And a lot of these times, these kids are younger than what he was. He's 20. Yeah. Some of them are juveniles. They're not expecting somebody to take the fight to them. So I think by doing that, you are dramatically reducing the risk of other kids or staff members being killed.
Yeah.
And everybody's always going to resort back to the Uvalde incident where, there were ample opportunities for people to stop that threat from getting in that room and doing what he did. So that is always going to be at the forefront of everybody's mind. But I don't know. I feel like we're at a day and age where it's so sad, but I feel like this shit's happening so much and so frequently that it's like the new norm.
Yeah.
And it just can't be the cops that are trained to deal with it. It has to be the faculty at schools. I'm
a firm believer that if a teacher is properly trained and that is maintains that training, to where they're doing it, similar to law enforcement, if not more than law enforcement, and that weapon is concealed on their person and it's not known to the students who's armed, what teachers are armed or what they're doing, and they just go about their everyday at classrooms. Because the fact of the matter is, you mentioned it, if a school shooter gets onto campus and starts actively killing students, it's going to take at best minutes for officers to get there. And then once they arrive there, then they're going to have to follow the stimulus. And that stimulus, every single round that's going off, is potentially students or teachers dying.
Yeah.
So after several minutes, then they finally reach that point. But how many people potentially, if they were armed, could have intervened and stopped that threat? And you mentioned it. Do these certain school shooters go onto the campus knowing that I'm going to get confronted by an armed person the second I step onto that campus? Nah, I don't want that. I mean, this suspect here, I'm going to leave him unnamed because I don't want to put his name out there, but it is. He said that he was going to shoot students, faculty, and then himself. He didn't want confrontation. He didn't want to come across somebody with a gun. So that just leads me to believe that he probably wouldn't have done this if somebody was armed at that school.
And we know from our training and experience that most active shooter incidents occur within or are from the time that starts to the time is done is less than just a few minutes.
Yeah.
In a few minutes, a lot of damage can be done. So are you saying that? Do you think teachers should be armed with guns, and should there be some level of training for teachers that if they are armed with guns, like, how does that look? Because there are people out there, like we already talked about it, who are so anti-gun, and they're like, they don't even want cops on the campus. Yeah. Not only teachers armed with guns. I don't know. I would ask a parent, I don't know, do you want your kid to go to school knowing that there's an armed individual already on campus who's trained, ready to handle business if something like that goes down? My immediately reaction and to that is hell yes, I do.
Yes. It comes down to the teacher, right? You can't make somebody carry a firearm that's not comfortable around firearms.
Pull that mic.
And the fact is that there are a lot of people out there that aren't comfortable with firearms, possessing them, holding them. They're scared of them, and that's okay. That's not the person that I want with the gun that's supposed to protect my child. The person that I want is comfortable around guns, is growing up with guns, fired guns, and willing to use it in a self-defense or to defend the life of others.
Yeah, like a Kirk Moore.
Like a principal, like Captain Kirk fucking Moore.
Yeah, it's just wild to me. I mean, we saw recently where at the Old Dominican College, these ROTC students subdued what was going to be another active shooter, and I mean they took action upon themselves and brutally killed that guy.
Yeah.
And with no weapons of their own, they just took it upon themselves to do that. And they're being hailed as heroes right now. I mean, these guys are all over the news, rightfully so. They're
Absolutely.
being interviewed by everybody. And I think hopefully people are seeing this trend of not running away from the threat, that, if you are an adult on campus, you're dealing with these innocent kids who's, like I said, me included, you as well, like parents, we are literally... When you drop your kid off at school, I mean, you are giving your 100% trust into whatever adult on campus is going to take care of your kid.
Absolutely. You're trusting them to teach them right from wrong.
Everything.
You're trusting them to protect them, feed them, care for
everything.
them, because you can't do it. You got to work.
Yeah. So we're at work all day. Your kids are at school. You're hoping all this is going on. I can't help but think that, I hope teachers watch this, or I hope that school staff members watch this kind of stuff. And you know what, even if you're a student, and I'll throw it out there as like a high school student who's maybe in your teenage years, kind of going into adulthood, you know, you see what these brave young kids did at the old Dominican college, like that might have to be used someday at a high school. And I want people to see this. And if they see something happening where they think that lives are going to be taken and they have the opportunity to stop it, you should stop it.
You know what? Yes, it's hard right now for youth to realize that there's a danger outside of their bubble. Most kids nowadays, I have teenagers that kind of wander around through life and don't realize when they're walking themselves into a bad situation.
True. And it's up to us as parents to educate our kids on that. But dude, you and I growing up through school, you're a lot older than I am.
But what if not that much? What if those parents don't have that ability to teach those kids because they themselves, I hate to use the term sheep, but they themselves live in their bubble.
Yeah,
where
you're right.
everything's
You're
safe
right.
and there's no danger out there.
No, you're totally right. And those are usually the parents who are like, I don't want the cops on campus. Yes. I don't want teachers to be armed with guns. Like that's not going to solve the problem. You know, I don't know what they want, but it's not that. And so, but I do think that like you and I grew up in an era where this stuff didn't really happen. I never thought about this ever. When I went to school, that was like the last thing on my mind. I never thought it would happen. Yeah. And now I feel like my own daughter who's in 7th grade, like she's brought it up to me. That's sad. And I think kids are ruthless these days with social media, you know, access to the internet, the stuff that they like. I feel like that is fueling a lot of this. And then the more of these happen, you get these copycats, and it's a trend. It's a total trend of, and I hate to say it, but like you could point out who you've probably done it, where you see somebody or a kid and you're like, I could see that kid doing that.
Yeah.
Because they just fit the profile. I mean, it's not even, it's just, it is what it is. So yeah, pretty wild. Again, I mean, thank goodness the principal Kirk Moore was there to stop that. But
the way that he rushed out that door, so I'm sure you guys have either watched the video or seen the video. He
like zero hesitation.
He peeks out this door and sees this kid armed with a gun. Easily could have closed the door, and locked it and barricaded in place,
saved
which
himself.
is essentially the tactic that's being taught for teachers, right? But instead, he rushes out, blasts this dude with a freaking Ray Lewis tackle, and it makes me think that he's had some type of training because he clamped down on that wrist and controlled the gun hand, pinned it down, and actually you see him fold it like on the side of the couch, basically rendering that hand, taking it out of the play. Now that guy maybe could have cracked off some rounds, but they're going to go into the wall, and then finally he ends up dropping it. But ultimately, he had 2 guns on him.
Yeah,
so, he may have dropped that one, but they maintained control of him and they found the other one on him, I think.
Yeah, that's wild. And getting shot in the leg, which I bet you if you were to ask him, and I don't believe he's come out publicly said anything other than he said he's excited to come back to work and serve, you know, the kids, which is rad. But I bet you if you asked him if he knew he got shot, I bet you he'd say no, he didn't even know, because his adrenaline was so
sky high.
So do you think, because I mean, there's been, since these school shootings have been going on, people are throwing out their ideas of how we could prevent these from happening. Like aside from teachers carrying armed, or being armed on campus, do you think there's any way to prevent stuff like this from happening?
You know, law enforcement's working on like with real-time incident centers, real-time RTIC centers. Maybe school district can look into something like that, and they have cameras throughout the campus monitoring who's coming where, who's going where.
But let's say there's cameras on campus. Like, let's say I know there's cameras on campus. That's no barrier. Like, I don't think there's a way. Like, unless you if you put a school in a bubble, I just don't know. I know some schools in rough areas have metal detectors when you go there. Like, dude, we work in an area that's not. We have a lot of gang problems, and just this week, or I think it was actually last week, because it's the beginning of the week. A couple kids went on campus to rob another kid at gunpoint.
Well, all that part just came out today.
Yeah,
it literally came out as a shooting on campus.
On campus, yeah, with a high schooler who got shot and killed. Correct. And we know just from working and we know what had originally happened, but it came out publicly today that yes, 2 students went on campus with ski masks to rob another student.
There were 2 non-students. They didn't go to school there. They went onto campus with ski masks to rob another student.
Armed with guns.
And the
kid they tried to rob was also armed with a gun and shot and killed one of the suspected robbers. So, but think about that for a second. Not only were 2 kids in ski masks able to just walk on campus, and the kid that was already there who was the victim in this whole thing, dude, he was already armed with a gun.
Well, part of this is a society issue. I mean, when we grew up, you see somebody with a ski mask or what the kids are calling shiesties now. Back in the day, you'd be like, that guy's going to go do something really bad. Now it's a freaking fashion statement. Now walking around with a shiesty on, or
like a balaclava.
Yeah. That's get with the times. Man. That's called the shiesty.
Your kid's a little older than me, so you learned that from your son.
I did. Shout out to Ben and Ryan. But yeah, so I mean, these kids run around. I literally see them all over the place, just wearing around like a freaking fashion show.
I know,
and they look like idiots. And somewhere out there are their parents who are buying these things, who see them walk in the house this way. And instead of doing the right thing as a parent and saying, hey, you look like a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Take that off your head.
Yeah.
And don't ever let me see it again. They just, let me go get them a different colored one.
And then as cops, when you go to like talk to these kids or tell them to take it off, like you're just getting confrontation from them. That's all it is. It's just confrontation. And so, yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, these kids literally walked on campus wearing that with guns, and it didn't turn out well for one of them because unfortunately, or fortunately, I wouldn't say either way, but like he gets shot and killed. So, a way to prevent it, I don't know. I don't know that there's a magic answer. I know you're going to hear from all these YouTube channels, special forces guys who are going to have the magical answer. But the reality is like, okay, so a situation happened yesterday actually at my kids' school. I was there for this picnic day that, for my kids' lunch, and it's an elementary school.
Yeah,
so
like out like in the grass area.
Yeah, so like kindergarten to 5th grade. And I'm parking my car, and I see this guy walk out like in the middle of the parking lot, which is a little weird. And he had a motorcycle helmet on. So he pulls up in a motorcycle. He's walking around the thing with a motorcycle helmet. And he's like standing in the middle of the parking lot. I was like, what the fuck is this guy? Like, that's weird. Like, what is this guy doing? And not even knowing about this incident in Oklahoma, but I'm not kidding. In my mind, I thought, that's weird. This dude's got a motorcycle helmet on. He had like this long jacket on. He's like standing in the middle of the parking lot where cars would actually like pull into the parking lot. And he's walking around, and I'm like, I don't know, just like I'm the kind of guy where I role play stuff in my head all the time and then like tell myself what I would do. I've just always been like that. And especially as a cop, like I was just trained like that. And so I started asking myself, what if I saw this dude walk out into the school campus wearing a motorcycle helmet on? He's got this long jacket on. I would say something to that guy. I would literally say, hey, are you lost? What are you doing? Take your helmet off. And if someone were to push back on me on that, like if he was like, I don't know, let's say he didn't want to take the helmet off or whatever. Like I literally told myself, like I would fucking tackle this guy. Like I would risk potentially maybe getting in trouble for confronting somebody on a school campus wearing a motorcycle helmet, walking around aimlessly. In today's world, like I'm doing that.
But the majority of society doesn't even. It's like that puzzle where all of a sudden they're throwing the ball around, and mid puzzle there's a bear that walks through the screen.
Don't even pay attention.
But people don't see that guy.
So
people don't see him because they're in their own little bubble, right?
So think about that though. Like
it's crazy.
How most people, would see a guy walking around with a motorcycle helmet on. And here's what you have to ask yourself: if you're just a parent, a non-law enforcement, just everyday person, ask yourself, whatever it is that you're seeing, is that normal to you? If it's not normal, then say something. I don't care if you want to call the cops if you think something's weird or maybe you don't have to say anything, but like call the cops. We'll show up. It's not a waste of our time. We get paid. How many times you go to calls and people are like, oh, I'm sorry I called.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't be sorry. That's why we're here.
Well, there's nothing that says you have to be confrontational about it. You could just go up to the guy and be like, hey, man, do you have a student here? Like, can I help you find? Are you looking for your kid? What's his name? I'll help you find him. Whatever it is. You don't have to instantly like approach that hostile.
No, but so if you play that scenario in your head, but then let's say the person like, oh no, and they take their helmet off and I'm looking for my okay, whatever,
cool.
But then what if a person gets in kind of like pushes back on you about that, and you're like, no, take your helmet off, like, and they're like, no, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
No, it's not.
It's not normal to wander around a school with a fucking motorcycle helmet on.
Especially as a grown-ass adult.
Yeah, you don't do that. So that's where things can sometimes be prevented, and people see things they just don't want to either say something or they don't want to report it because either A, they don't want to get involved, or B, they're like, I don't know, I don't want to call the cops and waste their time.
Yeah.
We are cops. We are telling you, we get paid to do that. And if it ends up being nothing, it's all good.
Throw another curveball in that equation. Throw race into it.
Oh, totally.
And then all people are like, holy shit, I can't do that.
No, you're totally right.
He's black, he's Mexican, he's this, he's that. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, no, that's the wrong.
And you know what? You got to push that stuff aside. You got to just act on what is telling you what is normal and not normal. And yeah, you got to act on that. So anyways, that was kind of off on a little bit of a tangent, but it was just like something that happened yesterday at my kid's school. And the guy, it was like nothing. I think the dude was looking for a parking spot because where he parked his motorcycle, like
probably on the sidewalk.
Yeah, he didn't want to park there. But at the end of the day, I still thought to myself, I thought it was a little weird. It's just not normal. So anyways, the point is, if you see something, you should say something, or don't hesitate to call the cops. So unfortunately, this isn't the last time something like this is going to happen. We know that. But this is a really good video and reminder to people that work at schools. Like, you should watch stuff like this. And seriously,
I don't know the answer, Kyle. I think in my heart of hearts that I don't think gun control is the answer, because the fact of the matter is that the majority of people that are out committing crimes with firearms, they're not their firearms. They're either stolen, unregistered, ghost guns, homemade type things. So they're not complying with the laws anyways. So you can throw stricter laws out there all you want. And the fact of the matter is that bad people are still not going to comply with them.
Yeah.
Drugs are a perfect example. Drugs are illegal, I believe, in all 50 states. Granted, there's a couple states out there where they're pretty liberal with their thoughts.
Kind of like us in here in California.
Maybe up north, Oregon, Washington. Yeah. But, there's still millions of people that use drugs on the daily.
Yeah. And we do see a lot of these kids who commit these types of crimes. They're getting their guns from their parents. A lot of times their parents own firearms legally.
Yeah.
And they're just not either secured properly, or the kids know the combo to the safes and they're getting their own parents' guns. So
hold those parents accountable then.
Yeah. And some situations that have happened. Yeah, they have. They've absolutely arrested the parents for those crimes that have occurred, and they rightfully so.
Yeah.
So
I mean, owning firearms is a right, not a privilege,
and it's a huge responsibility.
It has to be done correctly and responsible. Absolutely,
huge responsibility. So, from law enforcement side, they're gonna backtrack. They're gonna get into everything about this kid. You know it. You're a detective. A ton of search warrants are gonna be written.
Absolutely.
It's happened on April 7th, so a week ago. That's already been done. They've given somewhat of a statement about what this all kind of his motive on this whole thing, but not everything. And so I'm sure more things will come out. But my last question is, what do you think should be done with the Principal Kirkmore? I think they need to build a statue or something in that front of that high school where he should be propped up.
I think that man should, first off, never have to buy another beer for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I know he definitely should not.
So every place he goes, he should just have an ice cold one just waiting there for him. You know what? If I'm willing to bet that he wants nothing done.
Totally.
That he wants to be able to just return to school, be with his students, and just continue to walk the halls and throw high fives and handshake students and all that stuff. He just wants to get back to normal living.
Yeah, I think he definitely deserves something major. Maybe the presidential award, or
maybe Southwest can send him to Hawaii. And
yeah, somebody needs to hook him up.
Somebody does.
They will. This guy is going to be talked about for a long time. He's a legend and a hero. Thank you, Kirk Moore, for your actions. You're a stud, and I hope more people take after you. That's the bottom line from this whole thing. Is I hope people learn from this. So
yeah, Principal Kirk Moore, kudos to you. You absolutely, hands down, saved your students' lives that day. More principals, more teachers, more school districts needs to learn from you, and take accountability and attack the threat. Great job.
Yeah, no, for sure. Real quick before we sign off here, you want to give a shout out to your son who got his scholarship
Always
for
do.
soccer?
Yeah, he tells me every time, Dad, give me a shout out. So all my kids, I love them to death. Ben, Ryan, Charlie, hope you guys are done with your homework. And
better be.
Tell Mom, make sure dinner's ready. I'm hungry.
All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next video. See you later.
Take care.